Do you find me fuckable in my tight leather pants? If you find me touchable.
Hello, you guys. Welcome back to a new week. How are you, Jose?
I'm good. It is a beautiful weekend in Los Angeles. I'm about to go hiking, but I just watched episode 3 of Slag Wars, and it was juicy.
It was a very entertaining, and they for sure brought the drama this week.
I know. And I also love the special guest judge that we're gonna talk about later. I think it was like perfection.
Loved it. So let's do a little recap. So last week, we had our first photo shoot, and it was a kink photo shoot. It was so much fun. We had Niki and our Appa, our daddy, Gustavo win.
Yes, he was.
And
he's the eye candy of the show. You can't deny that.
And I think for sure he knows it because he and we'll talk about this, but he's pushing this forward. He's seen the reaction he's getting from the Cock Destroyers. So he's for sure pushing that narrative across. And we had our first elimination, actually. Wow, second episode and we had our first elimination. We had, sadly, Mr. Kevin go. It was so sad. And I mean, and what everybody's been kind of talking about this week, we had Levi just quit on us.
Sounds like a sore loser to me.
Wow. So it's a new day in the workroom, like one would say. And we start off with everybody in the jacuzzi. They just walked in, and they were just talking about, what happened last week. They're trying to get Gustavo to show how happy he was, but Niki looked pissed. I mean, since she walked in that hot tub, she looked ready to blow up.
Yes. And one thing that I'm loving more and more is the narrator. And the narrator has gotten way more comfortable with their banter and their jokes and just shading them, Yeah. She was like, oh, don't you just love reality TV when you put 6 strangers in a bathtub and they have no choice but to show their emotions? Because it's so fake. Like, those situations are fake. They're produced, right? They're like, okay, we need everybody in the bathtub and hash it out. Mm-hmm. And they just have to.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's not even a secret that everybody has a storyline that the producers are making sure that is getting pushed. I mean, we want good TV. And one way to, one way to make sure that there's good TV is we need a little bit of drama. And and the girls brought drama. So we have them talking, and then everybody just kind of like, hey, what's up, Niki? You're kind of quiet. What's up? And she's just like, I'm over the bullshit. Just straight up. I'm over the bullshit. And you know what I loved about the editing? They just were like, this is the person, they're gonna go at it, get ready.
Yes.
So, Tyrese kind of goes, what bullshit? And then then here we go, like you said, the narrator kind of being like, well, this is a little behind the scenes, and this is what you guys haven't seen. So we obviously know Niki and Tyrese and Cameron were all in a group. The boys did say that Niki tried to take over the group. It seems like there was a little bickering. Maybe we didn't see the full story, but it seems like there was a little back and forth between them. But what we did see is after that elimination where they sent no one home and we were kind of lost, Niki did tell Tyrese and was just like, you should have gone home, which that was shady. That was, to me, that was like, you're looking for a fight if you do that. Not
only is she looking for a fight, but she knows her competition. Because we're the viewers, and we're like, no, he should not. You obviously know that he's a threat, so now you are going to try to make him the villain. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry for calling him. I know that he talks about him being gender neutral.
Okay, right? This is the catch. Whenever anybody tries to make someone else the villain, they get the villain edit because you start acting kind of.
Yeah, don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
So they kind of narrow down, and then she just starts ripping everybody a new one. She goes, well, you know what? Actually, all of you are shady. Da, da, da. The only one I get along with Gustavo, and he's the only one that's cool with
She's
me.
probably fucking him. I don't know.
I mean, I do know, but
Do you know? we'll save that. We'll save that
We'll
tea.
save that. But yeah, no. So she's just ripping, and then goes into Cameron. Cameron is like, nope, I'm not the one, girl.
The elbow on Gustavo. Continue.
He's like, nope. He's like, when did I say that? Because she starts going like, well, you said this and this about me. And he's like, well, when did I say that? He's like, I'm not going to just sit here and let you say I'm doing this and this and this. Yeah. It was just, I mean, yeah. So Niki got upset. It kind of like a little bit boiled her. She was about to leave. This is how we know it's reduced. Well, who decides to just walk in and tell us it's time for the minigame when she get out the bathtub, right? So that was cute. I mean, I was like, oh, girl, I'm here for the I mean, God knows I love a good tea. So I was like, so the mini challenge, cock ring. Now, yes, I saw this cock ring. I was like, what kind of men's.com situation are we going to watch right now? I was like, where's the lube? Where's the lotion? Let's do this. But
that was not what I expected when I heard that it was a cock ring mini challenge.
I thought they were going to fight between each other. I was like, oh, they're going to get all that pent up energy that they have towards each other. Just
can I just say something real quick about cock rings in general? Because I know like this is reviews with slags. Even though I'm not a self-proclaimed slut, I do have opinions about everything, and I'm not a fan of cock rings. Like, they're actually a turnoff. Like, because when I think of cock rings, I think that the guy needs the cock ring, and I don't like that fact. I like natural erection, like natural girth, like, you know, whatever you have. So I don't know why you're using the cock ring. I mean, I know everybody has their own kinks and like the reasons why, but the main reason is like, it's like more like an erectile dysfunction type of reason. That's the truth. That's the reality of it. So then that, to me, just that thought process turns me off.
Yeah. Yeah, you have your opinions. I don't know. I mean, whenever I've heard or seen or whatever, it's for people who do it for a long time. So if they don't do it for like a quick fuck. Like if you're gonna be fucking for a couple of hours and you want to make sure you stay hard, and you just, you know, the bottom just wants to get pound for like 2 or 3 hours. But you know what? Why don't we have everybody down in the comments below tell Jose why cock rings are amazing? Because I'm sure people love cock rings. I mean, so we started. So we find out it's actually like a blow up, like I would rooster. Say like a blow up rooster, but it's what's called one of those. I want to say it's one of those like pool party kind of inflatable like cock. It's an inflatable cock, and they're gonna be writing it, and they have to prove. If you want to be a good cock destroyer, you have to prove that you could write a cock and you could do it nice and wet. We started off with Gustavo. Mm-hmm. Gustavo, I mean, sexy. He was.
Which I was hoping they would say for last.
Really, I was okay with him going first, because since I saw him walking with that Speedo, I was just like, can you just so he started writing, and it was funny. It was hot. He gave them everything they needed, right? So then we had Niki, which I thought Niki was the funniest. She's like, I haven't taken a cock in so long. She goes, the only cock here getting ridden is mine. And she starts just going at it with that poor little blow up cock.
Awesome for trans people too. I just like that she's very transparent, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like very open about it. And so when she makes comments like that, it makes me think, and I love that fact, you know.
Yeah. So this is a fun fact. I was looking at Niki's live, and she told us that she actually, if you notice, she only uses one of her hands for the rest of the kind of the scene, is because she actually broke her thumb. She broke her or sore her thumb the thing is that they had to ice it, and it was this whole thing. So yeah, she actually ended up injuring her.
Who went next after her?
So Tyrese was next. Tyrese said he wanted to use all his talents in dancing and wanted to make sure that they all knew.
He's a dance queen, so that's like his go-to skill. I mean, I don't blame him. I would too. But
for me,
what else do we have from him besides dancing?
But for me, he was just rolling in the floor. Like all he did was roll. Like I don't.
He was doing this.
But I don't think you need dance technique for that. Do you need a dance technique? I feel like.
Well, you got to be flexible and you got to be strong and you have to have a coordination.
I guess. I mean, for me, it just looked like one of those fishes outside of water, and they're just like.
I thought they all looked like that. Oh, and then Kane went next.
Yeah, so Kane was just basically like, let me just do what I do in bed. And he just started writing it, spitting in its mouth, just looking. I thought it was funny. I thought it was so funny. He was talking dirty to it. It was a very interesting, I think of all of them, for me, that was like, well, yeah, that's what I would have done. So then we ended up kind of with Cameron, and Cameron was at first being shy and was like, I don't know, like, and I get it. And he did talk about it in the first episode when he did the pole dancing, that he gets in his head, that he's not really someone that could like let go like that. But the same way he just let go and just was like, let me just do what I got to do. He was like, this is stupid, but I'm just going to be as stupid as everybody else, and just let go and had fun with it and modeled it. He of all of them model like that could have been a photo shoot spread, and I would have been like, yes, you got all these pictures.
Yeah. and he looked really good doing that.
Yeah, and he won. So all sometimes they say letting your hair down and just having fun with it helps. We'll get you a weave. You got this. But what did you think?
I loved it. I thought that was such a cute mini challenge, and they get to loosen up literally and have fun.
Who was your favorite?
My favorite was probably Niki, because of just like how her interpretation of the mini challenge. But as far as like actually riding the cock, I would probably have to say Gustavo.
I mean, I think we all agreed in this channel we're gonna be biased towards Gustavo.
I was super shocked that Cameron won. I was like, did I hear that right?
Really?
Yeah.
I think, and they talk about it later, that he just was like just a model about it. He just gave him all the looks. He gave him, and I mean, Cameron has the cheekbones, has the the body for that, so
he knows his angles.
Yeah, it wasn't surprising for me at all. So then they tell us, and I think they surprised everybody, that they were going to have a double penetration elimination. I was actually surprised. I mean, I was like, damn, they are ready to send these girls home. Well, technically, we've had a double elimination 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I was like, budget cuts. They were like, we got to get rid of one of these episodes, and we're going to do a double elimination.
Double penetration elimination.
I always think from a producer standpoint, I'm like, there has to be a budget reason here. But no, I thought that really elevated the drama and the intensity of them performing, because it's going to bring out the best in them, right? And so even though we have fan favorites and things like that, somebody got to go. Eventually, people have to go. So whether one gets eliminated or two gets eliminated, they were going to get eliminated anyways.
And then, I mean, better off sooner than later, right? So we find out that they're going to have a cabaret show. So it's going to be the Cock Cabaret. We all know that being part of like sex culture and all of that has been cabaret shows. So cabaret is like the oldest kind of performing. I mean, we have drag queens that came out of that. We have burlesque. We have all of these amazing things that came out of cabaret. And in all reality shows, at some point, you do some type of cabaret show. But
I love like Dita Von Teese. and I love like, is it Violet Chachki?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Violet Chachki. We have Violet Chachki. We have, we have Hispanic icons who have came out of the cabaret too. So it's, it's an important thing, and you have to be sexy at a cabaret. You have to be sexy, get people's attention, right? So,
Yes.
but before we get into the cabaret, we kind of reconnect with Niki and Tyrese, and they kind of talk it out. Niki kind of goes more into it and kind of says, she understands she's the only girl and she feels left out. She feels like the boys are being boys and just kind of being with
And I was like, they're all girls. I immediately said at the TV, they're all girls.
I mean, sure. I mean, I get it. I see where she's coming from, but I think Tyrese said something that was super important then and the time before. He was like, you haven't tried to get to know us. Like, I am, is that I'm a non-binary person. And you would have seen that a lot of the struggles that you've gone, I could connect with. So right. I think that was something super important. And I think that is something that we kind of don't think about. Like you said, we kind of sometimes focus about how people look and don't know their real struggles.
Right.
And that was something that they had to hash out. It's, they ended up making up. And I think that was like sweet. It was a cute little thing. And we were able to move on. Like any fight. I think even if you and me were stuck in a house for like a whole month, I think we would get in each other's throat. I think we already do, and we don't spend.
No, wait, what do you mean get in each other's throats?
Because if Gustavo's there, my throat would have already been busy.
That's hilarious. You're not coming anywhere near my throat.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come on your chest. Jesus. Is that far away from your throat?
That's hilarious.
We find out that the special guest is going to be Bag of Chips, which I think is so funny. She's one of my favorites. I love her sense of humor. Dead to the point, my fave.
Yeah, she was one of the stars of the UK season of Drag Race. She was top 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And she is hilarious. She is definitely a comedy queen.
And she's bringing something to this competition that I think, at least as of right now, none of the judges would have been able to, is that she's been in a competition show.
Yes.
And has had to do a type of performance for the judges. So I think she at least has that little, like, she could give them that insight of like, hey, it's nerve-wracking, it's this, it's that.
Constructive criticism too.
So
she is a drag destroyer.
She's a drag destroyer. And she came up with her own little girls group on Drag Race, the Cock Destroyers. So I think, it's a little, little nod to, hey, we see you, girl. So then we go into the show. So they did a little runway, which the runway looks are the same looks that they're going to perform in. We started off with Niki, did a sexy striptease.
And for the judges,
and she talks about how she made her outfit, and it's a full latex suit, like hat and everything, and it's made. She talks about how she made it down to the T. So she did this cute striptease. I thought it was sexy. She took off her blazer, had this little white, onesie, this cute little onesie, same material, went into the titty tassels again. And I said again, because I think you already did it once on the show, you shouldn't do it again. I don't know, like,
I appreciated the tassels. She could have done pastries, like, not pastries. They're not called pastries. They're called pastries.
Oh, someone's hungry.
I'm always hungry. I'm a pastry destroyer. But the thing I loved about Niki's performance is that it was a little shocking. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I know big girls can move. But I was like, oh shit, like, wow, like she was doing flips and she was like jumping and like she was like all over the place. She really impressed me. I didn't know that she could move like that. I don't know her background, I don't know if she's like a performer like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it was very. I liked her performance. I thought it was very cool. It was very like sexy. I thought it was super sexy too. She for sure nailed the showgirl. You know,
Yeah,
cabaret. She nailed that for sure. Gave me a little Roxy Andrews kind of
oh
vibes.
yeah,
Gave me Roxy
thick.
Andrews vibe. You know, thick and juicy. Like I said, the only thing I would have changed was the tassels. Yeah, I
So
think
who
that.
went next after her?
So next we have about you being a pastry destroyer. We had Gustavo.
Yeah, I'm in your city, bitch, I'm in your side. You can take my order, right? Started, cause I feel like I'm starting. Yo, this thing that I'm smoking.
Oh, he's doing a sexy dance, and he's definitely with
So Gustavo came out in this little chef hat and this little the apron on, and his performance was him like kind of giving you a solo para mujeres, kind of like instead of the sexy cop, he was the sexy chef. A little soft babe, if you if you ask me.
I saw that.
I think it was sexy. I loved the way that he just used all the the things to make a cake. I don't know. It was cute. It was to me. It was and it was sexy. I mean, bag of chips. Loved it.
I mean, I think we all loved it, but how many times are you just gonna be like this hot poppy? Like you're already that. So like show us like something. Show us like an actual talent, because dancing and putting cake all over your body, it's not a talent. I mean, look at Kim Kardashian. She has multiple talents. You know, so you gotta like, you can't just be like a hot person.
Well, but I mean, we're talking about like using titty tassels 2 times in a row. It wasn't a winner performance. I think everybody was a stronger. Like there was other stronger ones. I do think that he did what he could do best, and he knows that he's gonna wow.
And that's what you could do best.
So then we have Tyrese next. Tyrese wore this kind of like lingerie set. It was like a crop top with a little underwear with stockings that connect to the underwear, and nice like black gloves. I thought it was so sexy. Another one that did a dance, but this was more like a sexier, more seductive kind of dance. I thought it was amazing. Of all the dances, I think he just nailed it.
Well, he's a dancer.
Yeah, and he showed us. I mean, you wanted to see him dance. He's like, this is why, and that's what I like. I don't like when people are like, oh, I'm a this, and then when you're like, okay, well then do your thing, and then you're like,
That's always funny, like in the other shows when girls are known as like the comedy queen, the acting queen, the fashion queen, and they lose in that category. It's like, girl, you can't be claiming these titles. Mm-hmm. I can dance circle around you.
So now we have Cameron next.
Hey everyone, how are you doing? That was a rhetorical question, don't worry. Some of you may not know that myself and Levi, well, we have a private members page together. And we often get messages asking us whether or not we want to have threesomes. And I think to myself, if I want to disappoint 2 people at the same time, I'd go have dinner with my parents. The special guest judge tonight is Bag of Chips, the lovely Bag of Chips. She... It's hard to. She was on a TV show. She did a drag reality show where she coined the catchphrase, much better. Unfortunately, since the drag show, her drag hasn't got much worse.
Now, Cameron and Kane right now are going head to head at this one because they both are doing a roast. So Cameron comes out in a white V-neck, like a white deep V-neck with this schoolgirl outfit skirt, and just roasts but goes in hard. Now, I loved it. I was living for every single read and every single roast. Mm-hmm. I just think that he wasn't smart about it.
Yeah, it wasn't executed like con chispa. It was like there were some good ones, some good jokes though.
No, there was a lot of them. I think where he messed up, and I think whenever anybody goes into roasting, it's kind of like, and I think even the Cock Destroyers kind of say it, you have to kind of do a roast, something sweet, a roast, something sweet, a roast, something sweet. You can't just do roast, 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 roast. And you can't focus on one person at a time. Like, do one joke for this person, do one. And I think that's where he kind of messed up. He like took a whole bunch of jabs at Rebecca and then switched it up. And it was just like, no, if you would have just dispersed it a little bit more, it wouldn't have not felt as harsh.
Right.
But then we had Kane, and here's the
Cameron is so two-faced, but we already knew that. We've got eyes and we've got ears backstage as well. I'm just confused why someone would spend that much money on a second one. If you enjoyed the show, I've been Kane, and this has been a comedy roast that hopefully lands me in the final. If you didn't enjoy the show, I'm still Kane. Just meet me around the back for a spit roast that hopefully gets me into the final.
we had Kane. Kane walked in this. Do you remember La Oreja? It's a Spanish TV show where the girl would have to wear a cone when she got in trouble in school.
Oh yeah.
Was
that what he was trying to do?
I think he was going with like a version of that. Yeah. I know that's like a common thing that I've seen like in several movies where like people would get in trouble and they would like have to wear a cone on top of their head.
Oh yes. I know that.
So and he says stop queer baiting. So he had a political statement to make.
Yeah.
And
His performance was meh.
you didn't like it? I didn't do it.
I just felt like he could have done better.
Okay. I liked his roast were funny. I think he came up with some really good jokes, at least for Matthew. He came some really good jokes.
Yeah.
He did the correct thing where he like his jokes were like distributed towards everybody, so it didn't feel.
Oh right. He did a good job with that. Yeah.
It didn't feel like he was just attacking one person or like, and they were funny enough to like not feel too mean. And I think that's the problem with a roast. And I think they talk about it in Drag Race. They talking about it in any show where you get a roast, that there's like that delicate line between shade and a roast, so being able to like juggle that. And I think he did for sure. Kane did the best job at like that juggling, right? So then, they kind of talk it out between them. And it seems like it took them at least an hour and they couldn't decide who were they sending home. I mean, it's a hard decision. You're sending two people home at the end of this. I don't think any of them were like, and they were all good. I think all in their own way were good. Was there some in the lower half? Yes. I think the thing is, they're all good. When it's a whole bunch of good people, who do you send home?
Well, I thought that off the bat, there was people that were going to be safe, like Niki and like Tyrese. Okay. Their performance were amazing.
Yeah.
And then Gustavo to me wasn't the best.
Okay.
I thought that lacked talent and creativity. And then you have two comedians, two people that did the same thing. So one of those has to go home.
You see,
it's very logical to me.
For me, it just seemed. I guess I didn't see the logic there. I mean, Tyrese for me was the only one that was a fit in, because that dance was.
It's a logic for me.
For me, like they were loving, like they were eating it up. Like Vega Chips was eating it up with Gustavo, was loving what Gustavo was doing. I mean, the Cock Destroyers were like laughing.
Oh yeah, that's it. Go on, Gustavo. Go on, smash that cake into those fine abs.
And just talking it up. So for me, it was between him and Niki to see who got second place. Like I said, I don't like the nipple tassel thing, the repeating of that. I think it's a gimmick we already saw her do once. She could have done something newer. So for me, it was a tassel between them. And like I said, just seeing the edit between Kane and Cameron, for me, Kane was a shoe-in. So it was going to be Tyrese and Kane. It was more about Niki and Gustavo and see which of them was really going to be the worst. I mean, Cameron for me was going to send home. Like I said, there was points when the Cock Destroyers looked at each other like, is he really just going in at us?
Yeah, it was
So
awkward a little bit.
yeah, so Kane for sure was one of the two. It was just more who was fighting for that second place.
Right.
And then we find out that, you know, Tyrese makes top 3. So I guess we both agreed on that, or all of us agreed on that. We find out that Niki is staying, but she says that Cameron should go work home because Kane did so much better.
Yeah, everyone's looking at the 2 rows. Like, it's, to me, it's logical that they would go head to head.
So then sadly we have our first person sent home, and it's Gustavo. Gustavo was sent home. He didn't make top 3. And then we have...
That's so odd that they sent Gustavo home. Obviously, you guys just heard me say that he was the worst performers for me. But I would have edited the show differently to keep him. I would have done everything in my power to keep him, because he's like the eye candy. He's Latino. He's, you know, talkative. He's like one of the stars of the show. So why would you eliminate that? I mean, from a ratings and viewing perspective, I would have done everything in my power to keep him. But that wouldn't have been a fair competition. So
that would have, yeah. And then so they send, you know, the next person that we get sent home is Cameron, and Cameron sends home. You could tell Cameron is the one next sent home. He has a really hard time with it. He talks about how he's smiling and trying to be cool because they loved him. Like I said, they offered him a photo shoot. They all loved him, and he even says, you know, like, I'm smiling and trying to be gracious, but I really just want to cry and and break down. I think that he didn't expect for him to not make top 3, and that really sucks. I think we always have that happen where someone is like, oh, I'm there, and they're, you know, their world gets kind of crushed, and that happens.
And they're shocked.
They're shocked.
No, I knew from the beginning that Cameron wouldn't be top 3.
You know, this was the end of that, and now we have top 3. So we have top 3. We have Niki, Tyrese, and Kane, our top 3. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the week. They gave us a good ass teaser. We have Cameron outside. We see the cops for some reason. I don't know what kind of shenanigans is gonna go down, but for sure we'll be watching. I hope you guys will be watching. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. You know, let us know what you think so far. Was this the top 3 you guys were expecting? Is it not? Who should have gone home this episode? I mean, do you agree with us? Apparently we don't agree with each other, but do you agree with, who do you agree with? So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us. Like always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jose.
And we're here to cock destroy you guys.
Cock destroy us.
It's cock destroy us. Okay, well, have a good one.
Right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.